Okay, so you've got a service to do on your Bobcat mini skid. I got the MT85 here. Maybe the part numbers are a little different, but they should be mostly the same. First thing you're gonna wanna do is go get your supplies. So this is mostly just for my own purposes, but anyways, I'm running T6 there. If I had to be a 40 or 45, I can't remember. And that's 3.8 quarts with the filter replaced. As far as hydraulic oil goes, so that's engine oil. As far as hydraulic oil goes, you can use ISO 46 as a replacement for the Bobcat stuff. And then you're at 2.5 gallons of that in the reservoir. So anyways, here's just the part numbers for everything. You can pause that there and get those. And so heading over here, there's a few tips and tricks for this particular machine on doing the service. First, we'll start on this side, the fuel filter. To do the fuel filter, you replace, you remove the old one, you fill the new one 3/4 full or full, and then you install it. And one of the things I found was that there's a little primer bulb underneath that you squeeze 3 times. Oh, let me start over. First, it's a 13mm bolt or 14mm bolt there. You remove that, and then you remove the filter. In the fillet, that primer bulb, you can actually just hold the filter underneath where the little chute comes out for that primer bulb. Squeeze the primer bulb with your other hand while the filter is being held in there, and that'll fill it up. You can fill it up full, then screw it in, then two pumps on the primer bulb. It's primed, and then you're good to go. So that might just save you the headache of thinking, oh, I have to fill it 3/4 of the way full before I install it in there. So you have a jerry can, you've got one hand in the filter, one hand the 5-gallon thing of diesel, and maybe that's just a little inconvenient. So that was nice for me there. As far as the oil drain goes, these things are just notorious for being slow. They've got a remote drain on them, and sometimes it's kind of like a rubber hose that runs, a flexible rubber hose that runs from the front of the engine through a little passage and then to this front. So you remove a 14mm bolt, you remove that plate, and then there's 2 7/8. You use 2 7/8 open-end wrenches, and then you kind of you just open up and remove that the remote drain. And anyways, it'll just trickle out. And I got my catch pan there. You can see, and it took like half an hour for that thing to drain 2 quarts. So anyways, I got frustrated. Said, you know what? I don't have time for this. So I opened this up. And this, you kind of got to be careful when you're doing stuff like this, but I left the oil fill in, and then I removed, you can see down in there where the dipstick is. I removed this dipstick, and then through the dipstick hole, I just took compressed air. We have this it's like a blower wand or whatever, and it's got a little rubber fitting on the end there. And anyways, it's pretty careful not to blow out any seals or pressurize the system too much in there. But I just blew real lightly, and you can see I tried to do it one hand, and it mass evacuated about 3 more quarts. So if you're having problems, if you're not draining all of your oil, if you're only draining 2 quarts and you're like, where's the other 2 quarts? Try pressurizing the case there and see what happens. Helped me, and I wish I would have done it, so I would have saved 20 minutes waiting for the first 2 quarts to drain if I was going to do that anyways. So that might be helpful for you. And then to do the oil filter, that's just right under this cover here, just right there. And then the fill is right in there. Anyways, so pretty easy. And then next, and this is kind of last, and 2 13mm bolts there to remove that cover. But lastly, there's the hydraulic system that you need to do the filter and the fluid on. Now the filter's in the back, that's easy enough to access, but the fluid, that's where there's not a really convenient drain for this. So if you can, this is what I did, and I would suggest this, and I'm kind of making this half for my own reference in the future. But go on Temu or eBay or wherever you want to get your Chinese imported stuff, and you pick up one of these. It's just a little, they call it like a little transfer pump. And it's got a little hex shaft, a little 5/16 hex shaft or whatever. That just chucks in your drill. And in a hurry, this is just milker line or milker tube. From the dairies around here, you just pick it up at Fleet Farm or Farmer Fleet, and that's 5/8 inch inner diameter there. So you just put 2 foot or so into the tank on this side, and then I have about 8 foot just so I had extra for whatever I needed going into my catch pan here. And then you just crank it up, and man, this thing is speedy. It evacuates in a hurry, and you can see I've already got all of it out there's just a little bit left that I need to chase around in the corners, that reservoir. But it's a way better method than loosening that L right there. People loosen that fitting or take the fitting off, and then it drains through the bottom of the machine. You have to raise it up with the front bucket. It drains out through this lip there. So you need a catch pan that's, you know, as wide as this back, and you need it to be low enough to the ground that when you lift up the front, it doesn't crunch it or it doesn't compress it. So, and you have all this oil sitting in the bottom of your machine that you know, you either have to pressure wash out or you just leave it because you say whatever. But so anyways, yeah, this is my method. Just milker tube. You need about probably 4 foot to do it. You know, if you just needed that, it's about $1 a foot or something, $1.30 a foot. And then this little piece off of Temu was like $3.80 with free shipping, which is just crazy. But so anyways, yeah, with the pressurizing the oil, you know, the crankcase, filling the fuel filter in with the primer bulb, and then with this, this is probably the quickest way to do this service. And if you're banging it out, you can do it within probably 3-4 minutes or something. So kind of slick, kind of crazy, but yeah, hope this helps. So thanks.